All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Minnesota Vikings. In today's video, you guys ripped your first preseason game yesterday. We got our first live look at JJ McCarthy, your first round draft pick. You won in a nail biter 24-23. Now, obviously, it's preseason. We don't care about results, but hey, still feels good to win. We did see Sam Darnold. We saw JJ McCarthy. I saw a lot of stuff. I was really impressed by JJ McCarthy. He did what he has done essentially since he was drafted to the Minnesota Vikings. He just keeps exceeding his expectations, and he just keeps impressing his head coaches, or his coaching staff, I should say, and his fellow teammates. Folks, yesterday, JJ McCarthy, 11 of 17, 188 yards. 188 yards on just 11 completions, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. But as we know, or if you guys watched the game, or if you've heard from it by now, the most impressive thing from JJ McCarthy wasn't his stat line. It was what he did after he threw that interception on his third ever throw in the National Football League. So welcome back to the channel. Obviously, we're running through the Minnesota Vikings first preseason game. But before we do, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Vikings fans, if we could try and get this video to 250 likes, that would be freaking money. Folks, we're back. It's preseason football, and I don't care who starts week 1 for the Minnesota Vikings, Sam Darnold or JJ McCarthy. I am so excited for the future of JJ on this Minnesota Vikings team. Folks, where you land matters. Your coaching staff matters. Ownership, management, players, all of that stuff matters. And when I look at a team like the Minnesota Vikings, the last several years, it's just a really impressive football team. I know you guys moved on from cats like Danielle Hunter, but folks, this offense is ready to win. They're ready to win right now. They got a very underrated offensive line. They got one of the best LTs in the game. They got a dual threat at running back. They've got a loaded wide receiver core for the long term, which is the craziest part. But anyways, let's get into yesterday's game because, guys, JJ's a dude I've been so big on, but Kevin O'Connell, in my opinion, the head coach for the Minnesota Vikings, if there was somewhere that JJ could land in the first round where I think he would be an immediate success, even if he was thrown out there, even if week 1 I'm talking about, even if people think it's a premature start week 1, if there's somebody who can make that happen and make him feel as comfortable, as confident, and effective as possible, I do think it's Kevin O'Connell. I think he's one of the most underrated head coaches in the National Football League when we're talking about offensive minds here. So I was reading an article by Alec Lewis over on The Athletic. He does a great job, and he kind of just summarized essentially JJ McCarthy perfectly. All right. So the stat line obviously was solid. 11 of 17 passes for 188 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. But what was so impressive was what happened. So in the second quarter, JJ McCarthy threw an interception on his third pass of the game to Jack Jones on the Las Vegas Raiders. From there, though, he was essentially perfect. I think his feel for the pocket was really good. The Raiders were throwing blitzes at him, and I know, it's a preseason football game, and it's the second quarter or whatever. Folks, I'm telling you, not only do I think the Raiders have one of the best defensive lines in the entire NFL, their depth is severely underrated. Nobody really knows this. You'll learn this probably by the end of this upcoming season, or at least if you're paying attention to the Raiders. This is a Vikings video, obviously, but my point is the Raiders have depth and they've got talent all across their defensive front. So I don't care, that it's the second quarter. And if you're going to use the excuse of, dude, you're going up against backups. Well, dude, he's playing with backups, all right? Sam Darnold did get the start, all right? He looked good too. He's been reportedly looking really good in training camp. He had played just 1 series yesterday. He went 4 of 8. A couple of the passes were actually dropped, but then 2 of his completions of those 4 were on third and long conversions. So at the end of the day, Sam Darnold went 4 of 8 for 59 yards. But real quick, back to JJ McCarthy, getting to the pressure part, they were throwing blitzes at him. The blitzes or the defensive line, even if they weren't throwing extra defenders, JJ was getting pressured. And I don't think that fazed him in any way, shape, or form. JJ took some pretty big hits yesterday. I saw this TikTok video with I forget, I don't know how to explain it, like this kind of like symphony, rising, like intense dramatic music, and it was just, his highlights yesterday. I keep saying that some of his ball placement was okay. To me, his ball placement was very good. Obviously there were a couple of throws I'm sure he would like to have back. I believe he actually did talk about that in post game. But folks, that ball placement looked really good to me. It was very encouraging. I think that third play, his third pass intercepted, I think that kind of got him in this attitude where it's like, all right, you know what, screw this. It's preseason. I'm not going to sit here and play soft. Let's dial it in and let's focus up. He was extremely decisive. I did not see any hesitations. And even if he was going to his first read or whatever, and it didn't, equate to a catch. I still loved his non-hesitation and just his decisiveness. So, folks, I don't really know what more I could want from JJ McCarthy in his first ever NFL game, even though it's preseason. I think he genuinely did a phenomenal job, and it's something we're going to be keeping a close eye on in training camp and the next 2 preseason weeks. I don't think he's going to be the week 1 starter, but I will say if he does this in the next 2 games, if they play him in the next 2 games and he keeps doing this, it wouldn't shock me in the slightest if he was the starter. And then real quick, let's talk about some other stuff. Dallas Turner, first round rookie. Here's the thing, folks. Dallas Turner was supposed to be like the 8th pick in the draft. Like, it was common knowledge that Dallas Turner was going to be an Atlanta Falcon with the 8th pick in the draft. And if he wasn't, he was going to be the 9th pick in the draft to the Chicago Bears because, the thought was like, all right, Rome Odunze probably was going to be taken at 8. Dallas Turner was going to be the 8th pick or the 9th pick. Well, he falls all the way to what? 17, folks. He sacked Aiden O'Connell in the first quarter. He also had another quarterback hit later using his speed. I mean, his speed is insane. And obviously the Vikings made a couple of transitions going from Danielle Hunter and DJ Wanham this year to Dallas Turner, Jonathan Greenard, Andrew Van Ginkel. This is going to be your primary pass rush. And based on what we saw yesterday, once again, don't give a rat's ass if you're going up against backups. Dallas Turner and that speed and that athleticism was freaking through the roof, folks. In his last year at Alabama, 10 total sacks, 53 total tackles, 14 and a half of those were for loss, a couple of forced fumbles. There's no logic to me why he fell all the way to where he did. And then maybe we'll talk about this more so in our next video. We just heard a report that Aaron Jones and Ty Chandler are going to be splitting running back reps as 1A and 1B. And this is awesome to me. So Ty Chandler looked really good to me yesterday. He hit a 16-yard rush, 7 total carries, 33 total yards. His 5th round draft pick a couple of years ago. Last season, he was inserted into the lineup at the end of the year. 15 and a half touches, 82 total yards scored, 2 total touchdowns over the final month of the season. Ty Chandler is one of the most underrated, kind of sneaky backup running backs in the league. And Aaron Jones, my former Green Bay Packer, he's getting a little bit on the older side. He had a hamstring injury last season, so he missed 6 total games. And he also had fewer than 10 total rushing attempts in each of his first 4 games and 5 in his first 7 games played. But then, they ramped him up in the playoffs and he absolutely feasted against Dallas. And then the end of the regular season. So we'll talk about that and the defense more so. And I want to talk about wide receivers. But obviously the main topic of today was going to be JJ McCarthy. So thank you for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. And guys, give me a grade rating on what you saw from JJ McCarthy down below. I'm going to go A-. That's it. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you soon.